When they get ready to blast off, the rocket's headed for the moon, whatever, there's a certain period of time, that's the time you've got to go. If you don't go then, you've got to wait for another whole cycle to turn. Springtime is here, called Herbalife for you. I'm asking you to take advantage of it. Tell the story. Pass out the literature. Make the calls. Conduct the meetings. See the people. Grab and seize this opportunity like you've never seized anything in your life before to make something remarkable of it. This Herbalife opportunity is called springtime. Take advantage. Don't be lazy, especially in the spring. Don't be distracted, especially in the spring. What if you asked the farmer to go bowling in the spring? He would think you were insane. The farmer would say you can go bowling in the winter. You can go bowling after the crop is in. But you certainly can't go bowling in the spring. And I want you to know after this extravaganza, an extraordinary new spring is upon us. If there was ever a time when you get back home, this is the time to massively increase your numbers. Get up a little earlier, stay up a little later, pour it on, take advantage of this spring that's here. Now here's my next point. You've got to take advantage of every spring that comes because there's only a handful. Life isn't forever. It finally comes to an end. One of the Beatles wrote, "All things must pass." The sunrise doesn't last all day. Spring doesn't last all summer. The sunset doesn't last all night. We all have periods of time, pieces of time. And when those pieces of time comes, what you've got to do is take advantage of each time that comes. At the longest, life is brief. At the longest, life is just a small period of time. So don't waste your springs. Don't waste the opportunity to talk to someone. Don't waste the opportunity to have a meeting. Don't waste the opportunity to come to next extravaganza. Don't waste the chance. Each spring that comes, take advantage of them because there's just a few. Don't let them all pass. Take advantage. Now here's number 3. In the course of the seasons, 1 is the winter, 2 is the spring, 3 is the summer. The summer is called challenging time. In the summer, we've got 2 things going for us. 1 is opportunity, but the other is to watch out for your enemies. Nourish your values in the spring, in the summer. Like a mother, nourish the values. Distributors you've got, make sure that they get plenty of nourishment from you, plenty of training from you, plenty of understanding from you. Don't be short, don't be careless. Give them your best like a mother would give the best to her child. Give them the best you've got. Just because they're not part of your immediate family, they're a part of your Herbalife family. They deserve the best nourishment you've got. Don't shortchange them on food that'll help them to grow. Don't shortchange them on information that will help them to learn. Don't shortchange them on ideas that'll help them to transform their lives. Be like a mother in the summer and give the best you've got to everybody you can reach and everybody you can touch. It's called opportunity in the making. Be careful of those around you. Even when your check comes from Herbalife, you say, well, Herbalife sends my check. Well, here's what you've got to understand. It's not the 13th floor that sends you your check. It's not the computer that sends you your check. Some live human being had to make it possible for that money to finally get to you. So remember, it's human beings that make our lives valuable. It's not systems, it's not numbers in the marketing, it's not computers, it's not the printout, it's not points, and it's not royalties. What makes us all rich beyond our wildest imagination is people. So be mindful of investing in the summer in every person you can possibly invest in. They will make you wealthy. Now here's what else you must do in the summer. Like a father, you must look out for your enemies. And believe me, we're going to have some. In the political world during our lifetime, there's been many enemies of freedom, enemies of democracy, enemies of free enterprise. It wasn't that many years ago that it was illegal to make a profit in the communist countries. It wasn't that long ago until democracy was not flourishing like it is today. In America, you know, we've had 200 years of freedom and democracy and free enterprise for the last 200 years. But some have not been so fortunate. Some have not been so lucky. Let us learn to appreciate it when it does come our way. But there's going to be political enemies. There's going to be social enemies. There's going to be people that will be envious of Herbalife. And they will not be your friends. But remember, like a father who would guard carefully his family, I'm asking you to stand guard over the family called Herbalife. I'm asking you to stand at the door. I'm asking you, whatever threatens you, threaten it back. Whatever pushes against you, push it back. Whatever wants to overwhelm you, like a father, stand up, take control, and do battle with your enemies wherever you find them. Now here's one more. We must also deal with the enemies within ourselves. Yes, we've got enemies on the outside. Saddam Hussein takes over Kuwait. We have to put together 500,000 troops, go kick him out of Kuwait so that liberty will continue to flourish. But some of the enemies are not way off in some distant country. Some of the enemies are not personified in the Hitlers of the world and the Stalins of the world. Some of the enemies are a lot closer than that. They are within. And I want to give you a list of some of the things to watch out for when you get back home, called enemies within yourself. Here's the first one: indifference. Whatever you do, practice not being casual. You've got to shake off sometimes the lethargy that would say, oh, well, maybe it's not going to work for me, or I'll just go along and see what happens. I'm asking you, whatever you do, the intensity that you've gathered up here during this extravaganza, I want you to take this same intensity home with you. Don't be casual. Casualness creates casualties, whether it's in Herbalife or whether it's on the freeway. Go home with a renewed intensity. Don't let indifference take over. Here's the next one: indecision. Someone's mentioned it a couple of times on this stage. They've had to deal with it. You've got to deal with it. Indecision is called the thief of opportunity. Make decisions even if it's a wrong decision. Do the very best you can, make a decision and go with it. If it doesn't work out because it was a wrong decision, I'm telling you, that gives you experience now to make a better decision. Here's the next one: doubt. We've all got to deal with the enemy of doubt. Cynicism has a unique way of crowding in on all of us. Being cynical about the government, being cynical about banks and money, being cynical about society, being cynical about the past, cynical about the future. I'm asking you, don't let that disease grab you by the throat and ruin your chances to do well in Herbalife. Yes, it's easy to doubt that it can happen. It's easy to doubt. We've all got fears that want to crowd in. And here's one of the worst ones of all, and that is to doubt yourself. I know we look at Mark, glamorous, handsome, good-looking, extremely successful. Say, my gosh, I don't think that could happen for me. But I want you to know that Mark says, and I say to you, that if it can happen to us, it can happen to anybody in this room. Don't doubt your own ability. Don't doubt your own strength. If Mark can make it through some tough times, you can make it through. If Mark went through some strenuous times, you can go through those strenuous times. When the nights were long for Mark, I'm telling you, he made it. If he made it, you can make it. If I can make it, you can make it. If these people in the president's team can carve out an extraordinary story, second to none, in the business community of the world, I'm telling you, from these